All right, we're live. Tevis, have you learned anything since the past week where the community decided to come together and basically scold you on your inability to be a good friend? Have you finally
That's what you start with?
learned
Yeah,
what it
that's
means
great.
to be a good friend? Have you learned? Is all my because progress is important.
I posted the Sofi Weekly highlights on Sunday, and then like 3 people or 4 people commented like critical info, great video, like 2 seconds in. I pinned one of them, and then
Deservingly.
and yeah, no, that's fair. And then that's it. The joke got old, man. Like people move on with their lives.
I was gonna clip that whole exchange we had as an April Fool's joke and title it on YouTube. The SoFi Weekly podcast is breaking up because of this, but I was in New York and I just didn't get time to clip it, or else I would have done it for April Fool's. I thought it would have been funny.
That's fine. That would have been funny, actually.
That would have been funny.
By the way, my birthday's next month,
What day? May what?
May 7th. Y'all both wished me happy birthday because on Facebook my birthday was April 1st. So y'all fell for my April Fool's joke.
Oh my gosh! Wait, you're telling us this now? You didn't correct us on April 1st? You piece of shit.
I didn't correct you.
I literally was like, "Oh fuck, I missed his birthday."
Well, I was saying because I was on the call with Riley earlier that day, and I was like, dude, I was on the call with this guy for an hour and a half, and he didn't tell me it was his birthday. Like, what?
I forgot I did it. I did that like a year ago.
Wow, that is interesting. All right, so before we get into some SoFi news, anyone have some thoughts about the market, what's going on in the world, fintech stuff, any kind of raw? We saw the market take a dip, and I don't really know why the market took a dip, but we kind of crashed this week. It was pretty flat today. I don't know why it was like nothing changed today for some reason, but it was really flat.
I'm really interested in seeing not what happened in the market recently, but going forward, I'm really interested in going into bank earnings. That's going to be really, really exciting to see who survived and who got crushed, and the big transfers of wealth in the banking industry, or if it stayed completely flat. I want to know how big the issue really was, considering the fact that. Sorry, go ahead.
They're coming up soon, right? I know SoFi this week announced May 1st is their date, and so end of April, beginning of May is when we can expect the bank earnings to come up.
Yeah, all the large bank earnings are for the next 3 weeks. We got big ones next week and weeks after. So it'll be sort of pouring all in, and I'll try to look at all that data, see what we can see. Like I love seeing a lot of these trends whenever it comes to if their lending portfolios are increasing or their deposits, where those are going, it usually points SoFi in a really good direction. And we usually show last comparatively. So we're May 1st, like you said. I'm really, really excited to see, because if SoFi is a standout, that means that, the stock could really run. And I think we will be a standout, but that's just me. Obviously, some people say that I'm the biggest SoFi fan, which I don't know about that, but.
Well, you are the best SoFi predictor. So what's your predictions on Q1 and our numbers? Because last time you got it dead on.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't even looked at it yet. So we might have to go like the week before. The week
How many
before.
new members?
I don't know yet, man. Like I don't know if anyone else has any guesses.
Whatever Tanner picks, Riley's gonna pick like 2x that anyway. So
yeah, I'll go last because
I'm hoping it's over
last time anyway.
500K. That's all I'm hoping for.
Why would we get 500K if we didn't get 500K last time?
We got 500K in
It's accretive.
So it's possible.
It's because it's accretive, man. Every subsequent quarter becomes easier to get 500K because the total pool is larger.
Yeah, and the referrals.
What does that mean? What do you mean? What do you mean total pool is larger?
I mean,
well, the total pool is not larger. The referrals, the chance of a referral is larger.
Yeah, because the total member count is larger.
Yeah. But saying the total pool could also mean the total addressable market. That's how I.
No. The total amount of members that they have.
It's compounding.
If they have 10 million members in it only needs like 5% to be 500,000. Versus if they have 5 million, it needs 10% to be 500,000. If they have 1 million, it needs 50% to be 500,000, right? So like the bigger they get, the easier it is for them to hit that arbitrary number.
I see what you're saying.
Tevis, do you think that the SVB collapse like shifted enough direct deposits around in the banking world so that SoFi might actually have a surge this quarter?
I think the 4% did a lot.
And the 2 million FDIC insurance?
I think the 4%, yeah.
You know what? I'm counter that motion. I think the 4% works, but not as well as people think. Like, look at Robinhood, look at all these companies offering even more APY than SoFi, and they're not seeing any new members. So, like,
wait, how do you
there
know
was
that they're not
50,000
seeing members?
Well, because of the last quarter, they had 4% APYs, and they saw 50,000 new accounts, and I'm sure all 50,000 were for that. But for a total pool, as you say, of 23 million people, 50,000 ads is nothing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I don't know if that's necessarily a total sale. Now, that I'm not saying that SoFi won't be much larger than Robinhood, but it'll be for a lot more reasons than just offering a high savings rate. We offer the full, like, one thing too, better than Robinhood and better than a lot of these companies. And in fact, I think SoFi is starting to do it better than even Square, I might say, is that we offer this sort of niche community, like I like their marketing is what I'm trying to state, without having to be like this cool hip. Like, I love Cash App. Stop with the clothes, man. No one wants to like rep their bank that much where you guys are making a clothing brand. It's ridiculous. But I think SoFi is making that perfect in between of like still trying to be cool and young and not being like, hey, check out our new Jordans. It's like, okay.
I don't know what you're saying. I would buy a hoodie that says SoFi on it, but maybe it's because I'm biased on this podcast.
I really think it's actually really bad for companies to produce merch, specific companies, because like what you end up doing is you start isolating the base from generic people. Like, look at like I don't know, like I think anime is a good version of that. There's like a lot of like anime that's just like for adults, and like it's like really broad, but like there's a small select few of people that are really, really crazy about it, and it drives everybody else away. And I think that's why a lot of people don't do merch.
I'll take the opposite side of that. Less so about buying specific companies' merch, but more so, in the tech space, I have shirts basically from all the tech companies I've worked at because they just give stuff, like they give merch to employees. And it's interesting because like we'll have engineers and designers and such come into the office for work, and like one of them is wearing like a Grubhub shirt, one of them is wearing like an Uber shirt, just previous places that they've worked. And it's kind of cool because it builds that sense of community. If
But
somebody,
they don't sell it to the masses, they give it to people that they work with, right?
Sure, yeah, but I'm just saying in the tech space it's kind of cool because like you could see your counterparts where they've worked in the past, and like they wear that because they are repping that brand essentially that they worked in the past. So not necessarily open to the public, but there are some that are just, I would imagine that fucking hipsters or Gen Zs or whatever make this meta trend of wearing ordinary company shirts as like a counterculture thing. But I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old. I could see it.
I mean, I could see it if it's really counterculture, like Bitcoin or something like this. Merch can go wild, right? Because you're making a big statement.
But Bitcoin at this point is so mainstream, like to rep a Bitcoin shirt.
Yeah, I mean, it's grown a lot, but comparatively to the regular financial system, it's still a very niche product. No, like you could barely find any merchants that are using it. So there still are a bunch of people who are, excited. I've got a pair of little Bitcoin socks and just, fun to wear under the suit, But that being said, to rep a SoFi, to rep a SoFi sweatshirt or something like this, I mean, that's really niche. Like, hey guys, make sure that you guys are doing neo banking, okay? Only digital only. That's what I'm repping. Kind of weird, but obviously, like you said, you're in a very big niche of being on a SoFi specific podcast, which I'm advocating that we switch to a fintech podcast. And I'll say that out loud.
We can basically talk about any fintechs as we stand. We have before. We've talked about new. We've talked about
Square.
Square. Yeah.
And some of the best episode, I think our new episode was maybe my most favorite one, because I was showing an audience something a little bit new, and the conversation was just exploding with people so divided, and I think that is fun.
We did that on this podcast, or was that what you mean? You, me, and Chris?
I don't think you were here for that episode.
No,
Oh,
I don't think you were there.
Gotcha. Okay.
I also did that with Chris, but that was kind of a little bit janky because I had that dog and I was outside in Florida, and yeah, it was not my favorite podcast, but I like you and Chris, so it was fine.
All right. So I guess we'll get into SoFi news. Riley, I'm going to put up this first slide, and we'll talk about this one: banking AI chatbots. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of SoFi news, but I did do some research. Of course, after ChatGPT came out, a lot of people went to capitalize on it. There's a lot more view on different sectors of what chatbots can do for different companies. And these right now look like they are the top 5 like AI chatbots for banking in particular. So like they're trying to sell their products to big banks. The product offering is kind of weak in my opinion. If you go to the next slide, it really just shows you like what all of these guys do. They help customer support automation, make that easier. Personalized financial advice. That's very hard to do because if you have a chatbot that gives bad advice, you can get the FDIC on your ass. So I don't know how they do that, but they say they do that. SoFi will have their own personalized data. So even if they were competing with SoFi in the future, there's no way they would be able to beat SoFi with number 2. Account management, be able to like help you with transaction histories and looking up transferring funds between accounts, which is kind of dumb. Like, why would you do that through a chatbot? Scheduling appointments and lead generation for banks. What do you guys think AI chatbots are going to be like for the future of banking? Because we know for 100% they're coming, right? Like I feel like you believe that a lot, or some sort of AI.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say something real quick. Then Tanner, you got it. I think chatbots. Well, Pouncer just made an announcement, right, that they're bringing chatbots to businesses. So it seems like these are going to start coming. We've already had little small chatbots on like the side of your screen in the right hand corner for like customer support. But obviously those haven't been. They're not at the level of what like a ChatGPT can use. And if
horrible, you say like help me with one thing, and they're like, "Hey, how are you today?"
Yeah. So I mean, like banks connecting to either OpenAI's GPT API or building their own, and really being able to help businesses and consumers use the bank. I mean, it seems like it's a no brainer.
Yeah, I think there's. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's do Tanner, then
Can you tell we're both Canadian?
No. Tanner's not Canadian because he has not listened to the new Drake song. Tevis, have you listened to the new Drake song?
No, I don't like Drake.
No, you're not Canadian either. I don't know how you guys say you're Canadian. But
so I think there's a distinction between what we're talking about, and we have to split it up. Chatbots get a bad rap because of how clunky they are. And whenever you're in a chatbot, it's just an if this, then that statement that tries to narrow you down to whatever department so that they can actually route you to the appropriate human. So it's just a decision tree, basically, of saying, hi, how can I help you today? Checking, invest accounts, open a new account, problems, troubleshooting. And then you pick one, and then it sort of narrows you down that decision tree. That's a super rudimentary, breakdown of chatbots today. I think in the future, one of the big distinctions, it's moving away from this pure idea of a chatbot being super reactive and more towards AI as a whole being more proactive. So understanding how you're using your data in your everyday banking, and then prompting you to have interesting insights of those groupings. So for example, my bank or QuickBooks does this really cool thing where, let's say I label a charge from Uber transportation, so that in my reporting and analytics, it says how much I've spent for the month, my breakdown of my expenses on transportation. And then all the other ones are transportation. And then it says, wait a minute, you've either been traveling a lot. Are you sure you want to keep these as transportation? But because this is Uber Eats and this is Uber Inc., for example. And so those types of insights are insights that can be gained from an AI, whereas a chatbot by nature is very reactive. You have to prompt it for what you're looking for, and then it spits out that data. How accurately it can do that goes all the way from a super basic decision matrix to say, if this, then that, all the way to ChatGPT, where it's like it scrapes data and then presents that in such a way that it seems like it's a human interaction with nuance. So chatbots in general, very reactive, but I think that the future is going to be more away from chatbots towards a generalistic approach of AI being more proactive in terms of understanding and having access to all of your data insights, and then presenting that in such a way to highlight those insights to you so that you can then make more informed decisions without you asking for those.
To your point, so proactive. So let me give you all an example of what I think this could look like in the future, and tell me if I'm wrong, especially Tannor, since you are a financial advisor. I really do think chatbots in banking will take on like the role of financial advisors, not to the full extent, of course, because there's legal issues, but like I can imagine being able to talk to this chatbot in my bank and being like, how much money did I spend at Apple in the past 10 years? And it being able to give me a number, and also whether or not I'm spending more or less. And then also tell me, like, if I were not to spend money in the next 5 years at Apple, like how much money would I be able to save? Or be able to analyze all my subscriptions by asking it a question, and then it being able to give me like proactive like data, like Tevis said. I think that would be really, really cool. I don't see a future where that doesn't happen. Like, it just seems obvious.
I'm 100% in your field. I think all like true white collar professions like lawyers, financial advisors, accountants, these sorts of jobs, they're just knowledge based jobs, right? There's no actual skill involved. You just need to know what to do in very specific cases, and you need to know that based on history, right? So if you're a lawyer, you just need to know all the cases. Who's going to know that better than a database, right? And so I totally believe my job's going to get wiped out with AI, aside from very specific like family office type high like ultra high net worth clientele. Aside from that, I mean, AI can completely do my job and just, hey, what's going to work in this case? What accounts to use? Here's going to be your taxes. And you know what? You could probably lump all three of those professions all into one and cost less than what people are paying me today.
Well, the interesting part as well, and I think the thing that got me very much more excited about GPT's GPT's advancement is their integrations now that they have plugins. And it's something that they're just testing out. But I think that plugins are the next paradigm shift of this GPT story, because right now, GPT, the biggest limitation you can say, or the biggest drawback, is that it doesn't have information past September 2021. And so plugins really allow it to do two things. Number one, it can scrape the web for recent stuff. So I can say, hey, there's been a lot of SoFi news on Twitter. Scrape Twitter for me, filter by, the hashtag SoFi, and find me the top articles. And it can do that and save me I can do it in a fraction of a time. So that's number one. It can get recent data. Actually, fun fact, just a small rabbit hole. I was watching this thing where somebody was testing out the integrations, and they were saying they're entering this prompt in the GPT saying, my competitor is X public company. Can you please break down all of their traffic sources online? And it was going online to SimilarWeb, Sensor Tower, SEMrush, all of these different analytics, bypassing their like paywalls. They're gated, and giving you all the percentage breakdowns on their most recent month for this competitor. And so if I, let's say, have GPT-4 with one of these integrations, I can say, hey, my competitor is SoFi, give me all their breakdown in their analytics. Game changer. because it aggregates for you and it saves you the effort of having to go one by one. So I think one of the benefits of integrations, or why it makes it a game changer, is the fact that it can scrape recent data. The second is this idea of what Zapier does. If this, then that statements, right? It can basically integrate with your life. Like, for example, for myself, product manager by trade, I think a lot of that has, bled into my day-to-day life. And so as a result of that, I use a Trello to just manage all of my tasks. Trello is just a Kanban board. I can go on to GPT and then integrate it with Trello and say, this is what my calendar is looking like. I have these extra things, make Trello cards in the appropriate categories for me, and then send me reminders, for this. And it's basically like a full assistant. Why? Because it's not this thing that you ask in a sandbox, like this guru in the middle of nowhere. All of a sudden, it can plug in with everything that I use in my life, and then it can be the prompt for those things. And so it's like your command center for doing all of your things, right? That's in an AI way. It's an AI powered command center. So it makes informed decisions based on all of the other tools that you're already using. So you have to remove the brain power there. So I think that these two ways you can extrapolate to say, in the future of banking, just extrapolate the same concepts and then plug in the banking aspect. So this is where a lot of what I was saying, being proactive, comes into play, because it can integrate with all of these different parts in your life. It knows that, on the 30th of every month, you're paying your rent, and your rent is a certain amount, and it's a certain percentage of your estimated, earning potential that month, and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden it just becomes completely automated, to the point where you don't even have to ask it to do things.
Or if
and I
you
wonder
have,
where
go ahead. Tim.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I wonder where SoFi is going to get all that data from, right? Maybe their largest, fastest growing product, SoFi Relay, is going to have is the database for their chatbot. Which I wanted to just say from the start, if Connecta, Kana, whatever you want to call it, is not using ChatGPT and they're trying to build their own thing, boo to Anthony Noto, pay the fee.
To.
What do you mean?
There's no way that they can use ChatGPT, because it's unreliable, especially in banking. You want to make sure that every time you touch a customer, you can't give them bad advice, or you can't have for instance,
but you build it off your own database.
Exactly.
You can tell it specifically. You can tell ChatGPT specifically what you want the bot to focus on. But still, if SoFi tries to build their own thing, that does not mean that it's going to be more reliable than what OpenAI has built.
It can.
They are leagues above the competitors, and I wouldn't try to. And also, they cost like nothing. They just cut their costs by 90%, just so it's this easy tax to pay for everyone to use and no one to compete. And it's true. Like, we won't be able to compete either. It would be like back in the day whenever every company tried to build their own CRM. It's useless. Go with Salesforce and you're done.
I would wonder what the licensing model is there, though, Tannor, on the output of that data. Didn't Google last week get into hot water because they were using GPT to train Bard? And
yeah, I heard that.
I don't know that they can actually use that. And also, in GPT, what it spits out, it's isn't it like copyright? Isn't there some restriction? So for example, if I use GPT to make me an exact script, and then I go to another AI to read out that script, and I post that as a YouTube video, I couldn't monetize that video, for example, because it's all sort of generated content on the web. So I'm not
saying to use like for example, Notion AI. Notion did not build that AI. They're buying.
It's an API. It's an API into GPT.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually don't know if it is of GPT. I know it is of a model. I don't know if it's Cora or one of these, but I don't know if it is actually ChatGPT. They've never been public about that, I don't think. But regardless, I just think that'll be a similar thing to what Galileo needs to do. I don't think that they're going to use it to train theirs. I think that they are just going to use an API with parameters of what it can speak about. These rules exist. It's Shopify is doing the exact same thing for their built-in shop magic tool.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because in my product backlog right now, this last week I created a ticket to integrate a GPT plugin for our tool, because one of our partners that we collaborate with in the SaaS company that I work for, they tapped into GPT's API. So you basically have to go on their website and just request access to their API. And so they made a plugin that was GPT powered on their website. And so now I added a ticket in our backlog in my main job, so that probably next week or the week after, we can also have that same plugin for our main tool. And to your point, everybody cascading down is going to have all of these different, let's say, entry points that all lead to the same source, which is either Bard or GPT or Meta's new thing, whichever AI du jour you want to pick.
I don't know if it's maybe too early to call to say that OpenAI is the owner of everything of AI, the layer one, let's say. But I do think it's going to be a case where there's a select few players. And if Galileo is trying to do their own thing, it's going to cost way too much. And it's just better to, get a subscription with Microsoft to use Excel than get your own Excel. That would be a stupid play, in my opinion. And I don't know the background, but I know that engineers cost money and APIs can cost less. And there's no point messing around when you can get a day one product.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the first couple of innings here. I have a weird feeling that GPT, while it opened everybody's eyes, is going to be like the AOL or the Netscape of the AI realm.
I think there's a problem with implementing a ChatGPT into a bank, because if anything happens, like, you have to prove like where you got this information from. ChatGPT is trained on a ton of a financial advice, and in order for it to make sure, and for SoFi to be able to make sure it gives you the accurate information, it has to make sure that it's not going to give you any wrong information, because that is detrimental and it will hurt SoFi's business, because they will get a ton of fines. So one thing I do think that they might be doing is, if you look at SoFi Learn on their website, tons of articles that are curated by financial advisors inside SoFi on every topic under the sun when it comes to finance. And I really think that they might plug that information into an AI chatbot. So if you do have questions about anything finance related.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Plug it into an AI chatbot. What does that mean? Does everyone have access to an AI chatbot?
I'm saying we have to get away from this paradigm of a chatbot. A chatbot is just a nice frame to put the picture in. We're trying to imagine what the picture is going to be.
Sure.
Just because one company has come out with this beautiful natural language,
is important, because you want to make sure you don't mess up any of the outputs that you give to your customers. And I don't think copying and pasting anything from ChatGPT is going to work in a banking sector.
You don't think OpenAI has the ability to give them that information and just say, hey, just use this? Because I don't think it's the data. The data is not the problem. I don't find the data to be the problem. There's answers out there for financial advice, and they're pretty set in their ways. It's mathematics. There's a right answer. You know what I mean? But whenever it comes to the actual chatbot or whatever, how is Galileo going to work out this perfect natural language model that works as well as ChatGPT? And I just wouldn't want to see them play in that realm. There are legitimate experts here.
Able to compete, because there's so from 2015 to now, banks have had more and more partners than any time before. We have so many fintech partners. Sponsor Banks has fintech companies that they service to, but now the FDIC and all the government has to regulate all of these businesses now. They aren't in just the business of regulating banks anymore. They regulate companies that are using bank software. If I run the back office or the back sponsor bank for Robinhood, I have to make sure that Robinhood is using my product, the bank funds and all these transfers in a legal way, or Robinhood's not going to get in trouble. It's going to be the sponsor bank that gets in trouble. So when it comes to ChatGPT offering this service to all of the banks, the government's not going to be happy, or they're at least going to be putting down the hammer.
You're not understanding me. I'm thinking Galileo. The banks are not going to go directly to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not going to offer this as a service. Mm-hmm. I'm saying Galileo is going to offer this as a service called Connecta, and it better be, the backbone of it better be ChatGPT, because there's another player that specifically plays in this realm. If this is a homegrown built software, this is going to cost too much. This is
we can't do
new
it.
Technology.
The catch-22. Look, the catch-22 about these AI systems is that they have massive network effects. You can't have a good AI system give you amazing insights without it having a lot of questions answered or a lot of questions asked, right? Bard doesn't have as much like real-time training data as ChatGPT, because ChatGPT blew up, became the fastest growing product ever, and everybody is asking a question. So to some degree, I do agree that it is about the data in terms of how it communicates with that end user, not necessarily the depth of information that it has, because every AI platform can scrub the web and find like Wikipedia docs of, whatever you're looking for. But in terms of inferences, in terms of understanding what you're actually looking for and being actually helpful, GPT is far and away better than Bard. Why? Because so many more people have been using GPT than Bard, and it's been learning through all those interactions. It's also the reason why they're offering it for basically for free, is because they want to train this thing to be the best out there so that nobody else can really compete. And so that's really the catch-22 with these things. And if, Galileo wants to do it through Connecta, and Connecta is just a repackaged, repurposed GPT that they're plugging into the API and then making it look pretty, that's fine. But if they can't build it in-house either, because it's going to be absolute garbage, it can't actually solve any use cases because not enough people are using it. And it can't get good until a lot of people are using it, hence the catch-22.
Tevis, do you think that over time, I've seen a lot of charts that say that training language models just like ChatGPT is going to get stupid cheap in the future. Wouldn't it be wise for SoFi to do it in-house, make sure that they have the most proprietary data possible, and then be able to compete in the future?
But they can't go
but it's
fast
not proprietary.
enough, man.
It's not proprietary data to study a textbook. This is not that's why I think that professional businesses are going to get wiped away so quickly, because it's easy dollars and cents. Like, what's your income? How much do you make? What do you want to do? How much do you have? Here's what you're paying in taxes. Straight numbers, right? I do think that those answers will be able to be understood. And then on the back end, SoFi is just, having to figure out, okay, well, any other technical questions or something like this, or, how do I get my direct deposit? Like banking, I find is pretty easy. It's not like a full chatbot where you can ask it anything.
Again, guys, I think we got to move away from this paradigm of I think, compound interest brought up a good point. Like, it's tunnel vision to think that this has product market fit in the banking industry, that people are actually going to sit around and talk to a bot about financial advice. This is what I was saying in the beginning. The main
you're not going to know that it's a bot.
But regardless, how often do you talk to a person on the other line at your bank right now, right? Like,
if it's about you, though. That's the whole point. SoFi is building a next generation bank, and it's going to have to be able to share data from loans, insurance,
I agree.
All of this.
Riley, I agree 1,000%. Okay. I'm just saying it doesn't need to be through this paradigm, through this frame of like a text dialogue back and forth with your bank.
Just okay, so that's what you mean by proactive, instead of like you pressing buttons. It just gives you the relevant information that
exactly
it thinks you need.
Exactly. Amit, can you scroll a little bit up and throw compound interests a comment up, the one before that? Because I think this is an interesting case. Right. Don't use a hammer when you need a screwdriver. GPT is not for all use cases. Now, this is a critique today of us having GPT and understanding the potential of it, and then trying to apply it to every single type of business. But conversely, I also think that this is an opportunity in the future for that personalization of these different systems, because we've been talking about inferences, right? We've been talking about how good these things are at different use cases. And I think that that's a possible direction that it can go in. So if I can share my screen, let me see. So here you have GPT, and I can choose the model. And this is one thing I
Close
really
a
found.
tab. What?
Okay, ignore that. So these are interesting to me because what OpenAI did was they actually had categories to judge the different models by. And I think that in the future, you're not only going to have more categories, but you're going to have more accurate insights as to what system you should use for what use cases. If you want something creative versus if you want something analytical versus if you want it to make like spreadsheets for you, so on and so forth. And I think that this level of personalization is definitely one of the avenues where this thing can expand, because right now it's super general and everybody is trying to use it for everything. And it's going to be really great for some things, but it's going to be really poor for other things. Whereas in the future, as it gets more catered, more niche, more personalized, all of a sudden, it's going to have more use cases that are very specific.
Yeah, but I don't think that'll I think that's what Connecta comes in. I think this will be just personally, I think it's Excel, right? This is the way I see ChatGPT's, language model, is that this will be what's under every single future business going forward. So I don't think that it will necessarily be ChatGPT's business to even determine if it's a hammer or a screwdriver or whatever. This will be Connecta's business to make sure that it's a financial tool or whatever. And the problem is that it's not that sorry, what was I just saying? It's not that people are having one-to-one. Would you rather talk to a bot or a financial advisor? Because they kind of don't get the same, they won't have the same features. Yes, a human would be more personalized than a bot, but the bot will be 1/10 the cost. So would you rather have life insurance through me or life insurance through this bot? But then also the premiums are, 15% cheaper. And then people start to go, okay, well, maybe the bot can mess up a couple times. I might have to regenerate, a response. And to be honest, in probably a couple of years, you'll be able to call in and talk to the bot via your phone, and you won't even know. It'll have a lady or a man's voice on the other end, and they'll be giving you the answers, but it's still just ChatGPT using a natural language model. And it's specifically focused on all of these, very specific cases within, finance or all the textbooks that have gotten people like me their licenses. There's no way that I am going to know more than that language model. You know what I mean? I am more prone to mess up than this bot is. And, who knows?
Right.
The bot might have to get some air and emissions insurance to make sure that it doesn't mess up, but that doesn't mean that it can't be used.
Let's move on to this comment and talk about this one. I'm 42 and it seems hard to get people my age range to switch to SoFi. You think it's a much easier sell with the younger generation. How do we feel about, baby boomers getting on to SoFi?
Well, I'm not sure about people to change their existing institutions to get onto SoFi. What I do know is the reason why SoFi is targeting the younger demographics is because it's hard for people to switch. Just that mental shift, there's barriers to that. And all of the statistics that we've said in the past multiple times around the lifetime value of a bank customer is also the reason why SoFi is targeting them when they're 18, 19, 20, so that when they're 30 and 40 and have some real expenses, they're still going to be on SoFi.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue also, and Tannor, you can go after that, younger people are just more receptive to try something new. Like for me, I'm like, yeah, I'll switch to SoFi, no problem, right? It's not something that I think so deeply about. I'm not so ideologically ingrained in my ways. I also don't have a ton of money I have to transport. Whereas if you're in your 40s, you probably have a ton of money, mortgages, all this stuff that you would have to move to a new bank. So yeah, going after Gen Z makes way more sense.
Different risk tolerance too.
Yeah, different risk tolerance. Tanner, go ahead.
I just think as more features open up, that people will be, even older people will be more willing to try new things. Like, for example, during COVID, whenever I was trying to get anyone to sign anything, I couldn't go to their house. I had to use DocuSign. And the clients that are in 60s, 70s, and even 80s, they never wanted to touch this thing. But I forced them to. I said, you know what? We don't have any other option. Give it a try. And then the next document that I send them, I go, okay, well, do you want to meet or do you want to do DocuSign? Let's do DocuSign. You know, it's easy once you try it. And I think that as features open up and it's more useful to use, even let's say a digital dollar, for example, that older people will make the switch just because it's that much more convenient. It's not easy, you know, to go to a branch, and I do think older people are making the switch just harder than younger people that are on YouTube and all of these, you know, marketing places where they see the ads immediately and that's their first choice.
I also think that these big banks, in order to support their elderly customers, they have to keep all of these expensive channels open. So for instance, like a lot of banks by law still have to accept closing accounts via a letter in the mail. SoFi waives your right whenever you sign up through the web application. But these customers that have been with Wells Fargo and Chase and Bank of America for the last 20 years still have that channel open. And in order for these big banks to save money and get rid of all this extra cost, they're going to have to send a letter to these people, or they're going to have to get on the website and click I acknowledge these terms, but it's a lot more friction. And I mean, it's just going to be so expensive to run these big banks.
Well, so also on that point, Riley, like there is a flip side, right? Because the branches, while they might be a high fixed cost to the bank, are also a certain level of convenience and security to older generations that have built that user behavior over decades. And on that note, you know, I'm with a neobank right now. And if I wanted to, let's say, do international wire transfers, I can't do that. If I wanted to go withdraw my money from an actual bank, I can't do that. I don't know. There's like super limited ATMs that I can even go to for cash. Like I haven't held cash in a very long time, partially because my bank just doesn't have those avenues, and they might seem like super simplistic, basic functionality, but that's what I'm willingly giving up for the convenience of having everything to be online. And a lot of people who are less tech savvy or are older are not willing to make that transition, right? Because they're just less comfortable with it.
Apparently 42 is not baby boomer, so I apologize for that. That is Gen X. Everyone's like, we have to talk about Palantir. Guys, we'll talk about Palantir tomorrow night. I know we got some big news for Palantir, so we'll talk about that tomorrow night. What is Vitaly's and Carlos' perspective on SoFi? Carlos doesn't really care about it. Vitaly likes it, but he likes it more because of Galileo, not because of the personal banking side. But I think all four of us actually really care about the personal banking side, and that's exciting for us as well. Did you guys see Elizabeth Warren's tweets about Noto and his compensation this week at all?
I actively try not to see her tweets. So,
wow, pull that up. I want to see that this week. I haven't. In the past, I have. It is always fun to see.
I can basically regurgitate exactly what the tweet is without even looking at it, man. So much compensation.
Before you show it, what did she say?
She's going to be complaining about the 100 million compensation, how these CEOs are greedy and we need to regulate them more. Am I on the right track, man? It's basically the playbook in a nutshell.
Yes, here we go.
Every time I read one of her tweets, it just pisses me off.
SoFi CEO received 103 million in compensation, and now he's trying to force millions of student loan borrowers.
I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I guess. So, is he actually receiving 103 million compensation? What is the?
No, come on.
Those are stock performance. Yeah.
Well, they're not all a stock performance, but a good percentage of them are, and the stock has to move $25, $35, $45 for him to make that money, and it's going to start rolling off in Q1 of 2024. So, I don't know if it's real. I would love if it is. If the stock goes to $45 by Q1 of 2024, be happy. I'd be happy. But
It's like a
it's
9x
not,
from here, right? Yeah.
right?
All right. There's not that much other news this week, so if anyone has any questions, you can put in the chat. We'll probably do questions for like 10 minutes, and then we'll end it out.
I wanted to speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to speak on Fut put some thing on whenever I was speaking. He said, DocuSign, okay, he gets that. Digital dollars, get out of here, right? I think that is going to, like, the adoption for for a US digital dollar will be so fast. And if it's not, that, like, you're assuming, once again, people assume that it's going to be one for one. Hey, would you rather have the old system or the new system? Well, I like what I already have. Why change it? But if they put on a new system and they go, hey, by the way, if you use this, we're not going to tax those dollars for the first year. All right, switching over. You know what I mean? Like, if you hold all the systems, you have control of all these things, it's easy to get adoption. I promise you guys.
Tannor,
or at least
to your point,
that's just my opinion.
I really think Starlink is going to be a huge catalyst for moving America off of paper money, because places that don't have internet are going to have normal internet. And once they start experiencing all of these things that Apple has created, all these digital wallets and whatnot, I think that adoption rate is going to even go faster, and more people are going to be able to use this type of currency.
By the way, guys, how did we miss this from our list of topics for tonight? Turns out that we on the SoFi Weekly podcast, along with Chris Hager, last Sunday were absolutely right, and last Friday we're absolutely right, and on Monday, SoFi announced their Wyndham Capital purchase. They did not disclose an amount yet. We're probably going to see an amount leading up into Q1, but definitely at Q1 earnings. But it's finalized, and SoFi has announced this formally on Monday. Any thoughts?
We already analyzed why it's important, and Chris Hager did a good job. I guess the big elephant in the room now is how much money. And May 1st, we should get a decent.
But it was also confirmed that it was all cash. Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, my worry is that they're going to tell us how much they paid by, like, saying a PE ratio or something like this, rather than, price of sales, and then we still don't know who was closest. But,
I just want under 300 million, and I'll be happy.
Sorry, say that again.
I just want under 300 million. I'll be happy. I think my initial range was 100 to 250.
Gotcha.
And I think all of us will be happy there.
I think the biggest news this week that we actually forgot to talk about, which may reconsider. Tevis, why are you laughing?
Because I know it's going to be something fucking stupid, but go ahead.
It's about SoFi, and it might force all of us to sell our stock.
The Kramer.
Jim Cramer really likes. So, guys, this is a big deal because Cramer said he's bearish Palantir, and literally today, Palantir came out with some amazing news, and it's just perfect. I don't know, man. I'm reconsidering SoFi. Now that hey, I'm serious. I'm not playing.
Funny. Dude, come on. What
do you mean, come on? This is just
because this has been like such a amazing internet joke. We've all come together.
No, but it's not a joke, Riley. It's like legit.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, Riley, because if he's right so often, then people take the contrarian trade, and it's basically technical analysis at this point.
Yeah. So how does it work though? Because I know that a lot of people say that this guy's like the Warren Buffett of the opposite effect, right? Like, everything he says goes to just absolute mold. But are we just cherry picking results? Like, whenever he says something great, no one says a word, and then whenever he says something terrible, everyone goes, "Oh my god!" again. Like,
well, the other thing to consider is that there's no time frames to these things. So if SoFi goes down the next day, it's like, Kramer. But if SoFi goes up for 3 months and then just crashes after a while for whatever, they're like, Kramer. And so there's no real limitation in terms of, like, it's going to go up or down in this amount of time.
What's crazy is it's like this joke has gone so far that people believe it onto an nth degree, to where this guy is actually like I can't imagine being in Kramer's shoes anymore because of all the shit he gets.
I can. Kramer gets paid $12 million a year from CNBC to just talk shit. Like, yeah,
that's funny. That's great. Good for him.
He was an ex hedge fund manager. Like he was really in the money management game, and then who knows? Now he's
Turned into a
on
media guy. Yeah.
now he's on air crying about Meta, and like
You should see
I
the
don't know, it's
old
bad.
videos from like 2005, 2006 when he's talking about all the insider trading.
Yeah.
I've seen those actually.
Mm-hmm.
Where he spoke about how hedge funds are taking advantage of the markets by talking to CEOs and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
Crazy.
actually, there was this article. Was it this week that came out? But basically, they were saying that this study has found that bank executives have made the majority of their money by having this weird timing on this trades of their competitors' stocks. And so like JP Morgan CEO will put all his money on like a short on Citibank or long on Citibank, calls in short increments. And they're like, it's a competitor stock. It's not their own stock. So it's not like they're trading on insider information, but it's like all of these guys talk in terms of like what's going on internally at these other institutions. It's just really, I mean, insider trading is like happens all the time, right?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to speak about the Jim Cramer thing really quick. I was looking through some of his trades recently, and this man said that Bear Stearns was a great buy back in 2007, right before its collapse. He said Wachovia was a great buy right before its absolute collapse. Like a 2010 bet on General Electric right before the largest stock decline in history. Just like crazy things. He said in 2010, he'd said sell out of Netflix due to increased competition. And then that went on to be like one of the best stocks of the decade.
And he made the FANG acronym too, which is the sad part.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. He came up with it.
Binance. Oh, hold on. Can I pull this up? This is fucking hilarious. hold on. Let me pull this up. Let me just fix my
Kramer picked
screen
Nvidia
here.
at 20. Yeah, he's also like Tesla. I mean, he hates Palantir, which is awesome.
Can you guys see this? Do you December 14th, 2022?
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, what is that?
I can't zoom in.
It's Binance. He said, "Do you feel as reassured by Binance as I do?" And then CZ is saying, "Please don't."
Jim, yeah, please don't use Binance for the sake of everyone. Half joking, and then the news that Binance and CZ were sued by the U.S. CFTC for allegedly breaking trading and derivatives rules.
He was a big Theranos bull too. I forgot that, bro.
Dude, he put a $330 price target on Silicon Valley Bank a month before it went under.
He put a $475 price target on Coinbase when it IPO.
What did he think about Sam Bankman-Fried?
What did he think about him? Honestly,
FTX. Wasn't he like a bull of FTX as well?
He might have been. He might have.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
Yeah,
Boys,
I mean,
I
look,
think-
Noto has a good relationship with them. He's been on Mad Money a bunch of times.
Look at this. Oh,
Yeah, so someone's asking exactly what he said.
He just said, "I love SoFi."
Yeah, he said that in a world of terrible regional banks, declining and companies that are not profitable being terrible, SoFi is a standout in those, and that they could actually do what they're saying because of everything that we talk about on this weekly. But now I'm questioning everything.
He looks like a child.
There's hold on, let me pull this down. There's another one. Let me pull it up. Yeah, it was like
So funny.
this is I have just all of this stuff in the meme section of my Discord. That's why.
By the way, in the chat, put in what you're eating for dinner tonight.
Look at this. Every time pull this up. Every time a Philadelphia baseball team wins the World Series, a financial crisis happens. And he was rooting for the Phillies, and the people are like, "Fuck! Like, please don't do it."
Wow, that's hilarious. Wow, that's actually insane. That's so funny.
I think next week we should do a PayPal episode. or a section per PayPal. If I could just say, just to hype some people up, maybe if there's any interest in this.
As soon as we say that, like SoFi's going to have the biggest news week. Like it always happens when we feel like we run out of stuff to talk about. SoFi does something crazy.
I'm just saying they just launched. Well, actually, their invest platform is going to change, but
really,
what's it called? We are going into earnings, so that means we'll probably hit a dark period going, near earnings where they're not going to launch any news. So, yeah, we might actually be able to get it off closer than you think, but who knows? Could I just say something really quick? Because I know that Riley, you were quite excited that you got access to SoFi's Buy Now, Pay Later.
Yeah.
A bunch of people got access to SoFi's Buy Now, Pay Later, or sorry, Pay in 4, same sort of deal. Well, PayPal also has a Buy Now, Pay Later section as well. And this, guys, this is the benchmark that we want to peg ourselves against. And we'll look terrible if we do so. But just listen to these numbers, or maybe I can bring it up. Ooh, that would be juicy. Can I?
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you too, Amit. I'm proud.
Proud of me for what?
You didn't pick up on. Anyway, never mind.
Wait, proud of me for what? What? There's something I was supposed to catch on?
Was there a shower?
Oh.
No, worse.
Close.
Someone said in the chat they had Chick-fil-A with a chocolate shake. Bro, I can never drink like a milkshake with chicken. That's like hard no. That's hard.
Yo, share this. Share. I've never had Chick-fil-A. Let's talk about Buy Now, Pay Later. And it's because I don't live in America.
Tanner, before you start, I think like when we started this whole thing, you had a negative view of Buy Now, Pay Later, but now has your opinion of Buy Now, Pay Later shifted since then?
I never had a negative opinion on Buy Now, Pay Later. I had a negative opinion on Buy Now, Pay Later the way that SoFi offers it. Free, no interest. We already offer alternatives. Now I've learned some things since then. The actual interchange fees that they take on Buy Now, Pay Later is even higher than credit cards. So debit card at the bottom, credit cards, Buy Now, Pay Later, even higher than every other transaction. So that is exciting. But that being said, I don't like no APY, and what happens if people don't pay back, right? So it's taking on risk with little reward, especially how they offer it. Sorry, let me just speak on these numbers, guys. Look at the bottom here. Okay, this is PayPal. Okay, transaction volume up 160% year over year. Buy Now, Pay Later transactions up 200%. Customers up 105%. These are year over year statistics. Merchants with PayPal Buy Now, Pay Later transactions up 60%. And then the actual upstream presentment, which means that like it's actually offering PayPal's button to actually allow them to purchase. So that's really good. And then I was in America, in Florida. This doesn't happen here in Canada. We don't have PayPal Buy Now, Pay Later. But once I was actually in Florida and I was buying something off Amazon, just because I had the Honey extension, which is owned by PayPal, it just pops up while I was shopping on Amazon. Hey, do you want to divide this into 4 different payments for free? Just out of nowhere. I didn't click anything, and I actually didn't use it because I just paid with Amex. But how easy is that? And then not only do they get my service, they get my transaction, and then they also get a Buy Now, Pay Later thing. So it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully it allows for more transactions, these sorts of things to go through. Whether it's good or not for the actual customer, that's debatable. But there's a lot of great things happening at PayPal, and I wish we would talk about other fintechs, because those are some serious numbers for a massive company.
No one gives a fuck about PayPal. That's the problem. Like,
yeah, but PayPal is also Venmo, and Venmo is really, really wanted.
Bro, PayPal was cool like when Peter Thiel made it and sold it to eBay. Now it's just like,
This
Dude,
poor guy's presenting
saying-
charts and numbers and stuff. So dismissive.
Well,
I
I
don't
get
even
it.
mean to be dismissive. I'm just saying.
No.
Oh, sorry,
I
Tanner.
completely get you, dude. No one uses PayPal in America, and that's not even true.
No, I
But
use it. I
It's
use
not,
it every week. I use it.
but internationally, it's massive. Like,
Yeah.
like so many more people use PayPal, and people and companies accept PayPal so much more than Apple Pay, Google Pay, all the things that people are expected to want to use. PayPal is still the number one option by far.
Oh, you're right. And
You
they own
know?
Venmo,
Well-
and I use Venmo a ton. So
There is a war starting up in buy now pay later because Apple just released their buy now pay later option. It's going to select random users in the past week, but
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and
like-
let's see who's going to win. I'll share with you a adoption and acceptance rates whenever it comes to PayPal or Apple Pay.
all right,
Making
while
sure that-
Tanner talks about this boring ass company, please leave your questions in the chat, and we're gonna do last 10 minutes on questions.
Wait, is it SoFi related questions or are we just doing an AMA?
Anything.
Or...
It could be personal. It could be when did Tevis lose his virginity? Any of that stuff. We're good.
Oh, baby.
All right. Tanner.
my God, I am actually interested in this because I do think SoFi has a better wedge than PayPal for buy now pay later. But Tanner, go ahead.
Yo, TJ said the funny. Well, it's not funny. I mean, it's tragic, but it's hilarious to assume that PayPal did this.
Yo, that'd be great. For those that don't know, Cash App founder and former Square CTO was stabbed in San Francisco a couple days ago.
Oh.
So
Yo, that
Yeah,
was a crazy
terrible.
story. That's horrible.
Wow.
Terrible.
not the best.
Crazy Bob.
Yeah, that's what they used to call him, Crazy Bob. And this was near a rich place. Of
Was it
San-
because
the
he wasn't
apartments-
holding any cash on him?
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Probably not. Probably
Too
not.
soon,
Oh,
Riley.
that's too soon. That's too soon. But the place where he died was apartments cost $5,000 a month. So it's like it was a good neighborhood. It wasn't like some bad part of SF. So yeah, sucks. Or Tanner, you want to share that thing or no?
No, I was just saying that, like I wouldn't cross PayPal off your list, guys. I think it's a trade similar to Meta in a way where there's still a ton of growth to actually happen. What happened, guys? What happened?
Doesn't that go
Bro,
against?
I
It's
cannot.
still
I don't
going
want to
on
put up.
about PayPal.
Tevis, you're laughing at the same comment I'm looking. I know you're
Oh,
laughing.
dude,
at the
that's
same
don't
comment.
bring that up. Don't bring that
No,
up.
I'm not. I didn't see any comment. I was just laughing that like we
No.
go off the PayPal chat and Tanner's like, but let's get back to PayPal. Nobody gets
Because I asked him about it. Wait, Tevis, do you see that comment by ET FaceTime Home? Do you see that?
No,
comment?
stop, dude. Stop.
I'm not pulling it up, but do you see that fucking comment?
No, I can't see it.
Okay, good. You're never gonna see it. It was
Good.
Well, let me go on
Tanner. Okay, so PayPal offers buy now, pay later. I get it, but in the future, when one stop,
I saw it. That's so bad. Please don't.
Bro,
pull
we're
it
all
up.
going to
That's-
hell.
that's so
we're all
bad.
going to hell for that.
Okay, so in the future,
There's no way we're not going to hell. We're gonna go up to God. He's gonna be like, that fucking comment you laughed at on Sofi.
Please,
You're going to hell.
please don't
Like,
put that up.
All right, Riley, go ahead.
okay, so in the future, when we have a one-stop shop, who's going to download PayPal to use their buy now, pay later product? Like, why wouldn't you?
Sorry,
use
say
your
that
own
one more time.
banks? Why wouldn't you use your own bank's buy now, pay later product?
Bye.
I can't. I can't.
If you are a true believer in PayPal, PayPal will be your bank. They're going to be you're able to store your cash at PayPal. They'll give you an APY for that. They'll even give you rewards on spending. They will be, that it's same as Cash App. It's like that is the service that they're offering. So I don't know. That's just my
Regardless-
belief. And you should see how this company is operating, like how much money they're truly printing. It's disgusting. Okay. And then how much they're actually distributing back to shareholders. It is gross.
How much?
And then if you want to talk,
is it a part of your portfolio? You have a position in it? A decent
yeah, definitely. But another thing too, whenever talking about distributing back to shareholders, I just lost.
You said they're printing an unbelievable amount of money. They're distributing it back to
Oh.
shareholders.
Sorry. That's what I wanted to say. So, acquisition strategy. Okay. There's not many companies. Some people say Salesforce, I would agree, has an amazing track record for acquisitions. Some companies that maybe don't necessarily might be, I don't know, Shopify, has a shaky record. What's the other company? Even, Square, I think, has a pretty shaky record. I'm not a big fan of some of the acquisitions that they've made. Do you want to spend $29 billion or $10 billion, whatever they spent in actual dollars to acquire like something like Afterpay? Or do you want to be PayPal that just has this amazing thing already? And the companies that they're acquiring are printing like crazy. Braintree is up there with one of the best acquisitions of all time. Okay. One of the best acquisitions of all time. Like, you're up there with the Googles and the Metas of some of the greatest acquisitions of all time. Like, this is a company that prints. Truly. I would not brush it off.
This $2 super chat is for you, Tanner. So thank you, man.
Okay.
For that.
I'm sorry, Mando. I will never see that money.
If you give me your Cash App, I'll send it to you. I'll just send me.
Oh, well, I'm Canadian, so that's never gonna happen.
Oh, that's true.
I do think that regardless, PayPal's buy now, pay later, Apple's buy now, pay later is only gonna make SoFi's offering to banks way more enticing. Like, there's no way that banks are not going to want to get into this revenue share, like, whenever this thing blows up.
I don't know. I don't know if I think banks have already heard of it way before. Like, I think they're following the industry in general before Apple does something. You know what I mean?
Wells Fargo is advertising right now 2-day early paycheck when this was like instituted by Chime like 5 years ago. I really think they're slow to adoption.
They just don't need to, which is the craziest thing. Like, they've got dinosaur CEOs that are printing mega dividends and they're about to retire soon. I don't think they need to put a bunch of money into R&D, nor do I think they have the founders to do so.
Sure. Yeah.
It's crazy. Not even founders.
Well, so you're saying
CEOs.
that SoFi is not going to be able to sell their buy now, pay later product to anybody?
No,
right?
Dude, no, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying,
Tevis, what are you laughing at?
Do you think it's going to be that level of growth? Like,
I think buy now, pay later is going to grow. I think this is still the wild, wild west of like what happens, because I still think banking apps suck. And I really don't see, I don't know. It does the way, okay. So I do have the buy now, pay later card, and it's the easiest thing I've ever used. Like, literally 2 buttons and it's in my Apple Wallet. So it would be really easy to implement this into any bank. And then they make just a profit off of the offering. So like, it's just too easy. I don't see where
but you just add it to your Apple Wallet. Why would you add it to your Apple Wallet when Apple will just be like, hey, I'll do it for you?
I mean, like, but why not? Like, it's open. Like, why sell your products on Amazon if Amazon's a retail competitor? Like, it's because everybody wins.
Okay.
All right. I guess we go to questions. If there's any questions in the chat. SoFi Weekly going public via SPAC. That'd be a good idea. Are many large institutions not able to buy SoFi until more profitable? Yes.
That's probably true.
Next question. I don't know.
I'd imagine that like a lot of institutions are blocked on investing in these companies due to their their relative safety rating. But I know that's what's going on with Tesla, right? Like, they're AA rated or A or double B or triple B or whatever. Similar to like how the bond market is in terms of these rating agencies assign ratings based on the company's financials and their profitability and such. And if you're not profitable, then obviously it's going to be a crap rating. And so a lot of institutions are sort of gated by these ratings to invest a lot of money in these companies.
And honestly, I think it's a less polite and less like technical answer than this. I think a lot of institutions don't like SoFi. There's nothing gating them whenever they bought an institutional company that was not printing money. Whenever Nubank went public, you know what I mean? How did they get so many large institutions, like even Berkshire Hathaway, to invest in a non-profitable company that is international? I think that's a much harder sell, and yet they still did it. And I just think that they think currently it's an easier offering to understand. Now, do I think that, SoFi is a better buy than Nubank? Or sorry, Nubank is a better buy than SoFi? I don't actually think that at all, because of the valuation. I think SoFi is so cheap now that it's actually going to make more money, even though it's actually going to grow slower than Nubank. But I think investors will understand just more quarters need to continue to have triple beats over and over and over. And the institutional, investment will rise as, the overall market switches too. As the macro environment changes, so will investor mindsets.
Let me ask you guys a question. Okay, let's say SoFi makes you rich, like filthy rich, right? Like lots of money. Okay, and you decide to go travel, decide to start going to some places because you have money. Will you fly first class if you have the money to afford it?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Riley, why no?
Why? It's just you don't need it.
Oh, that's true. Riley, are you comfortable saying what what you're up to or no?
I'm doing like a little meditation retreat. I don't. Other than that, I guess I'll talk about it when I come back. I still don't know the whole details. But yeah.
All right,
I
I'll
agree
speak
with
for
Riley.
you. This man is a true monk. Okay, he doesn't need
I haven't done
luxury.
anything.
Okay.
I think if I'm rich ever off SoFi or anything in my life, I will never fly first class. And in fact, I will fly coach because it'll humble
stupid.
myself. No, what do you mean it's stupid?
Yeah,
It's not.
it is stupid.
It's stupid. First of all, it's stupid in general, but it's also doubly stupid for you to say that at this point.
Why?
Because, Riley, at some point, you become rich enough where it no longer becomes about need.
Exactly. So you have to remain humble. Like I will never buy a Lamborghini. I can like honestly say, because why would I spend $200,000 on a car? Like
because you can, and it doesn't make a dent.
But
and
just
you're
because
like,
you
I
can
want nice
doesn't
things.
mean
I've
it's
worked
good.
really hard in my life. I should be able to have these nice things.
No, I don't shame anybody for going first class. I'm just saying.
I know, but like, dude, let's just say arbitrary number 50 million. I can't spend that, but living a relatively normal life, it's very difficult to spend that. Do I want to be fucking in a middle seat, with two big sweaty people just like no,
to me,
man.
There's something beautiful of being worth 50 million and being in the middle seat. There's something unique about that as a human being, just putting yourself in that situation.
I'm not with Ted.
You know the Diderot effect?
No.
So it's a guy from Greece 2,000 years ago. A famous or a king gives him like a really, really beautiful painting, and he puts the painting in his house, and his house is all like really like middle class or lower or low class, and he starts looking at that painting, and he's actually wealthy, but all of those things around him are bad. So he starts upgrading his bed, he starts upgrading his chairs, he starts upgrading his rugs, and sooner or later it starts slipping, and then he's broke. So I think there is some sort of superpower of staying modest with what you spend when you're.
This is not a.
But if we're talking about $50
million,
million, maybe not.
Yeah, but this is not that's a complete opposite extreme, right? Like I just think that.
Yeah, it's just a thought experiment. It's not like saying like everybody's going to go broke because they spend money on first class.
At some point, you buy all of the fun things, and it's like material objects get old really quick. I wanted stupid. Okay, completely stupid. But I wanted to play a new video. I never play video games. I have like really, really rare. I wanted to play one. It was only available on PS5. Impulsively, I bought a PS5 and I played the video game for a week, and now I don't freaking touch the thing.
Boy.
It got old so quick. And so it's like, okay, well, I bought the PS5. I'm going to buy that fancy car that I've been dreaming about my whole life. There goes $100,000. I'm going to buy that house, and then all of a sudden I'm going to have a really fancy spiral staircase. There goes a
But
mill.
Isn't it cool to not
What
do
else
the
do
thing
you
you want
buy?
to do when you
know,
have
like,
money?
I'm way like I don't think the luxury of like, hey, I want a nice car. Like I'm not actually that way. I think I'm worried about the time. And like TJ said, like if you have the money to fly private, it saves you time. That's like truly valuable. And I think the same way with first class is that if it upgrades your experience to be left alone, you don't have to get out of the aisle way to let the other person go to the bathroom or something like this. Like if you can just sit there and work, if your time is valued that much, you could make more having a first class ticket and actually have focused work and pay more than the ticket would than if you were to sit in the middle seat and get nothing done.
I agree on like the ROI framework, but what if like you have $50 million and you're not doing anything anymore? Like your time is not making you money because you already have all the money you need.
Well, if I have I'm still sitting first class. I'm like
Okay,
I think I'll do the meet Kevin strategy of when I can afford a private jet, I'm doing it.
What even is it? Like a private flight? What, it's like 20 something grand for a flight on a private jet? Something like that?
So I don't know.
If you have 50 million, like first class versus economy, that's still a very poor way of like even framing this hypothetical. You know, because it's like, well, if you really reach that echelon of wealth, then private becomes, you know, you don't even think of first class as like a viable option. It's like private or nothing.
A lot of rich people don't even own their jets. They share it with other people. And then they just plan their trips around the people that they own it with.
Do we really need 10K shares to get rich on SoFi? Tannor, this is a question.
I don't know. That's my
Tannor,
call.
you made a video about this that has 13,000 views. So I feel
by the way,
know about this one.
By the way, guys, thank you all very much. I appreciate all the interest. I've got your message loud and clear. The quality of the videos are getting upped. Okay, so I'm sending all my videos to the editor again. So no more me taking the time out.
Every time Tannor starts this podcast, we should get a secondary shot of him looking like this way and then looking towards the pod, just like he did in the video.
I really like that opening. Yeah,
it was good.
It was basically all the video that I saw, but
I couldn't take it seriously because I know you.
I'm kidding.
Bro, literally, the man says, "Hey, new video. What do you guys think?" Kevin's like, very crucial info. Great video. I just put it in the chat, by the way, for those that give him some views.
I had to say it just to rile him.
That was hilarious. That was great.
I think people have different projections of the growth of the company, and some people like why I think I'm so in the middle on this stock is I see almost an even amount of comments that say like, "Are you kidding? This stock will be 100 in 3 years," and then another list of comments like 32% growth. Like, are you out of your mind, kid? And like, I just want to say, no one is understanding my thesis. A 32% growth rate on this company linearly is never going to happen. Okay. The idea is that this stock has been pushed down like 80% from all-time highs. Okay. We're not in a bull market right now, but we will be again later on. And so those valuations will come back. I'm not saying this is linearly. I'm saying there will be fluctuations, and I'm saying eventually it'll hit my price range after those 10 years. So pretty much, let's say if even the price to book ratio even doubles, which if you look at the fintech space, it should 6x, but I'm just saying doubles. Okay. That would already mean that we only need a 16% compounded annual growth rate for a company that's growing at 50 plus rates. And that even the industry itself is saying that people are going to go more digital at even higher rates than I'm saying myself. So that means SoFi doesn't even have to gain market share. Like, I don't even think my prediction is all that crazy.
No, it's not. It's actually kind of reasonable. It's not that crazy.
Yeah, it's just buying it. If you're expecting a growth or a bank stock growth rate, it's crazy. If you're looking at it as a hyper growth stock, blitzkrieg growth rates over the next 10 years. Anthony Noto himself says it's going to be a top 10 financial institution, and I believe him. So far, he's said things and he's been conservative. That's the truth. Argue me that, right? So let
me ask you guys this question. Ways. TJ said, TJ the Wheel Deal in the chat, he said he's spending about $1 million on taxes. Did you guys do enough trading this year to warrant some heavy capital gains tax in 2022?
Last year?
Yeah, last year.
I tax loss harvested all of mine.
You tax. So do you have any gains you're paying on? Anything? Like, did you make any
well,
money?
you can carry forward, I think, the losses. So
What's y'all's capital gains tax in Canada? Because like for us in
It's like
Texas,
20%. I think.
it's 25% essentially.
Yeah, 25.
It's like it's your tax bracket, whatever tax bracket you are, on 50% of the gains. So essentially 20, because our taxes
It's
are like
it's 50% of 50%.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amit. So basically, in 2022, I sold off enough so that I could equal it out with tax loss harvesting. So I sold off, let's say, 5K worth of gains, so I could sell off 5K worth of losses and balance, so I don't have to pay any taxes on that.
Right.
I mean, do you know how much these guys pay in taxes a year? Like when Tevis told me, it blew my mind, and especially
On income?
Don't put the number on blast.
No, I'm not putting out any numbers. Just like
Percentage wise,
like percentage wise, yeah. Like these guys are slaves. Half. Like
how much is that?
that
How
is-
much are you paying?
So at the highest tax bracket, we could pay 53%. So we're taking home less than half of what we make.
But so you have to make like what, 400,000 a year or something like that? That's happening.
263, something like that.
Yeah,
What
but
the
for it to be considered, so each bracket is like, even if you're making 300,000, you're still paying the tax brackets.
It's
of,
progressive.
Yeah, it's progressive.
yeah.
It's progressive. Yeah.
Right. But once you hit that 400, 500,000, the amount that is in the highest bracket will totally assume the brackets underneath it. So you will be paying that, 51 to 53%.
Yeah.
That's
So
in
let's have-
Ontario specifically.
Let's have this conversation. Should we abolish taxes? Because it seems like this shit is a scam. Like it seems like it seems like this shit's not.
So I will be
Wow.
more than happy to pay taxes when the actual spending of that money is actually efficient.
But you get free healthcare. That's pretty efficient, right?
It's such a fucking mirage, man. It's an illusion, that free healthcare, because like you get free healthcare and then you break your arm and they're like, okay, cool, we'll put you in line. You got to wait 16 hours.
Really? That's how it goes?
Man. Yeah, because everybody
Oh,
has free
dude,
healthcare,
like-
so they're like, my head kind of hurts today. Let me just check into the ER. It's so stupid.
Dude, it's so true.
It's insane.
People in Ontario know, like, at all costs, you do not go to the emergency room, because no matter what it is, you're sitting there for 10 hours. Like truly in a room for 10 plus hours. Like,
Bro, it's wild because like when I was in high school, I was like, we should tax the rich, all this stuff, and then I like started a business, and I'm like, I don't like this whole idea of taxes. This shit is not interesting.
It's
anymore.
crazy.
well, that's always what people say, right? Whenever they're in their 20s, they're like, we should help out. And then you start making money, and then you know what? Then the
All
government's
my
okay,
money.
your time to pay. And then you go, what the fuck? And then you become a conservative.
Well, so that's the thing. When I was in university, one of the professors was like, don't worry, you guys are all like bright-eyed. You all start out as like these liberals who want to like, save the world and sing kumbaya and all this rainbows and sunshine and shit. And then by the time you're 30, when you actually start making some real money and you start seeing the taxes, like that's when you slowly turn conservative in like the second half of your life.
There's been a meme in America for like 100 years where like the Liberal Party, the people that oppose like the people that are for a lot of taxes are always saying like the Conservative Party is about to die off. They're about to die off. Look at their age. Look at the stats. They're all like 60-year-olds. They're all going to die, and then we're going to be able to do this. And then it turns out it's just like
they turn 60 and they don't want to pay.
The older you get, like the more you don't want your money to be taken.
No, it's interesting. I think also like younger generations, and I know we're all pretty young here, but activism and like fighting for a cause and trying to beat back the system and all this shit matters when you're younger. And as you get older, you're like, man, I just care about myself. And if I can make myself happy, I can make the rest of the world happy.
But yeah, so I don't think it has to be this like absolutist, like zero taxes versus what we have right now. The interesting part is like banking and politics are like government are two of the areas that are such laggards, because we still like we're in a world where we have fucking AI, cutting down our workload and optimizing our output by 10x. Meanwhile, we still have such a long feedback loop on our politicians because it's representative democracy, right? We have to vote every 4 years. Meanwhile, we can't control what they do on big decisions. We can't really control what they do in the middle of that term. We can only kick them out after 4 years. Like, that is such a long feedback loop. Whereas, I think the more interesting thing would be like a direct democracy, or even, I think ET put it up, this idea of allocating your tax dollars to whatever, let's say if there's 10 sliders or, infrastructure, healthcare, whatever, 10 things, where would you allocate your dollars? Because that would be a really interesting experiment, because what that does is it makes it more of a direct representation. The 4 of us can allocate our money to the issues that we want, whereas today we all have to vote for somebody to make our voice heard through them, essentially. And so I just think that feedback loop being so long is one of the core problems, because when we want to kick out a politician, we could only do that in a set number of years. We can't do that on the spot.
Do you think that cryptocurrency plays a role in government by seeing where the money goes? True transparency within government?
Hasn't Canada banned crypto or something?
No.
Like, they're not nice about it, right?
Yeah, but neither is the US.
Even if you could, Tanner, even if you could still vote them out every 4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry,
like,
what?
Even if you could see where all the dollars are going towards corruption, towards, let's say malfeasance, towards negligence, whatever, you can only vote them out every 4 years. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, I think essentially 2 years, but yeah.
Okay, let me ask another question. Do you guys believe in voting? Do you vote every 4 years for your prime minister? Riley, do you vote? I voted last time. We don't have to say who you voted for.
I don't anymore.
You don't anymore? Okay.
I just don't think it's worth the, oh God, this is such an unpopular opinion.
It's actually not that unpopular as you think. I mean, a lot of people have given up faith
in my roots where I grew up, in my conservative household. Yeah, it is. But no, I don't see the value as much. I think not voting is also, I mean, there's people have to work to get your vote. Like, I'm not going to vote. Yeah. And I think that once somebody does come along that deserves it, sure, I'll go out to support them. But I don't know. I think there's just, if we have the same discussions that we have in America in this next election, when we go through all of these debates about all of these useless, dumb arguments, I'd rather turn it off and focus on doing something relevant. Like, so
Riley, I think
there has to be a conversation about AI, like this debate section for the GOP. Sorry, what, Tevis?
I think that's a stance that a lot of people, especially young people, share because they're disenfranchised and they're dissatisfied and they've lost hope that any of the politicians are good candidates. It's like a rock and a hard place. But I do think that it's important to vote, especially because the people who are really like especially older generations who are really gung-ho about their candidate, they're going to show up and they're going to vote. And, pointing in case in 2022, last year, we had a mayor, we had a premier here in Ontario.
A what?
Who, like, how do I explain a premier?
A premier? What the fuck is that?
It's it's like it's like the leader of a province.
What the fuck is a province?
It's like a governor of a state.
Shut up, dude.
Exactly. What are all these, like, is this a different language?
Yeah, it's like a governor.
Just use pounds and inches and feet. That's all I'm asking.
The Queensland.
Yeah.
So the point
this is where we go to vote for our prime minister.
Regardless, we had a person in a position of power that represented a cohort of people called Ontario Omit. And a lot of people didn't like him. Okay, and a lot of, especially young people, complained so much about him. He cut a lot of social services. He cut a lot of, spending. Tanner knows exactly who I'm talking about. And he was just widely disliked. As a result of that, this was the least frequented election, I think, in Canadian history, or at, like, definitely top 3. I think, and he won re-election on only 30% of the province, something like that, on like 30% of the province that actually went out and voted. Like under half of the province, actually showed up for this thing. And the point is that on really small, ridiculous numbers that don't even remotely constitute a majority of people, this person won because a lot of people just didn't show up to vote him out.
So, but that is just a small reason why you should vote. Like, there's tons of opportunities in life that you can make a difference that are going to have a huge, way bigger ROI on the future of our republic than voting. Like, if you can convince somebody not to smoke when they're pregnant, all of our children are going to benefit, because there's going to be one person that's not going to be as mentally unstable in the future that's going to have an effect on other people.
But how do you control that in a democracy if not for voting?
Smoking pregnant women?
The legislature that passes that through, man.
I mean, people that are going to smoke when they're pregnant aren't really worried about laws and statutes. Like,
I think you both have a point. I think Tevis's point is that there's an infrastructure that creates the principles that allow voting to have an impact. And Riley, you're just, I mean, I talked to Jeremy Financial Education about this. He literally was like, I don't give a shit about Democrats or Republicans. I care about making money. And look, and he might have a ton of impact on a ton of people by just focusing on that. I mean, like
building a product, that helps people. Sure.
Yeah, this gets even deeper into like for example, is a finance channel more important for humanity, or is a politics channel more important for humanity? I would argue a finance channel, because if someone learns about investing at a young age, that's way better than learning about the bullshit Bernie Sanders versus Howard Schultz exchange, right? But there's the other side to that as well. So
there was this.
I cannot believe that you guys shut me down on PayPal and all these things to talk about politics.
But we're not talking about politics, Theo, technically.
This is
also
no one after hours, man. This is an hour 30 in.
Hours, Tannor, what are your thoughts? Tannor, do you vote?
I don't want to talk about politics anymore.
I'm just asking if you vote. You don't have to say who you vote for.
I vote. I vote.
Okay. That's all.
Change the topic then, Tannor. It can't be PayPal. Go.
Yeah, talk about
Square.
something fun.
Okay, here, Square. Let's talk about
No. We have 165 people who have stayed, and we were not talking for the past 30 minutes about stocks. So they might actually care about some other stuff we have to say.
Can I bring something up way left field?
Let's hear it.
No, it has to do with politics.
Square or what your topic? Go ahead.
Okay. So this is kind of left field. But like in college, I used to read like psychology papers, because I used or scientific journals in psychology, because I wanted to be a therapist a long time ago. And one thing that really surprised me was like parents that spank their children. There is an actual, like, kids actually have a lower IQ drop because their parents spank their children. It's like
abuse is horrible.
Yeah. So like, and the studies are absolutely insane about how many parents actually spank their children in America. Like, I can't imagine if like the entire country got 5 IQ points higher, how great this country would be.
I think it's one of those correlation is not causation. Like
no.
One of those things. Like if
okay, but what are you talking about? Like,
horses. If women own horses, they're more likely to be healthier. It's like, okay, is that true, or is it just like if you can afford a horse, you can afford healthcare? Like, you know what I mean?
Proof that if people were to stop spanking their children, their IQ points of their children would be higher. If you have a lower IQ,
I would love for you to send me that.
Huh? Yeah, I will. I have like it's somewhere in a folder somewhere. But
what is it, knocking brain cells out? What like? Where's the science?
Kids at a young age, if they worry about corporal punishment, they're not focused on other things like grades and stuff. They're instead of like worrying about learning, like hold on. If they're instead of worrying about learning, they're worried about getting a bad grade, because bad grade means dad spanks me.
I mean, it's fair. It's logical. I don't know how much it expands, but
it's psychological development, especially at a young age. It really changes people.
I feel like this is like where everybody can use statistics to make whatever point that they want. Like Okay,
So
if
you
we
are
say
for
that,
spanking children? Is that it?
dude, you should have gone into politics, not psychology, with that kind of retort.
Yeah.
I'm for a different type of spanking, if you know what I mean.
Riley, I'm telling you, Riley is like the Jason Calacanis of this podcast. He will.
Oh, come on.
I said, I love PayPal's buy now, pay later. And he goes, so you don't think anyone's going to use SoFi buy now, pay later? Okay, got it. Like,
That's literally what Jason does, bro. Oh my god.
Okay, that's a good point.
The one thing I hate about the All In podcast, I was trying to listen to this morning. Jason takes like an hour to queue up the topic. Like he'll talk for 5 minutes before finally letting people talk about the topic. And I'm like, bro, just get to the fucking point.
So just on that spanking point, I think that
which spanking point?
The one that Riley's talking about, not the weird shit that you're talking about.
So you don't like getting spanked, is what you're trying to say.
I'm losing my train of thought. So if you actually want to have a rational, logical conversation about it, you have to say, okay, to what degree does it affect? Is it 1%, 10%, 5%? Like what percentage? Because the US is like ranked 13th in reading, 37th in mathematics, 18th in science around the world. Immigrants are like the absolute best in pretty much every single field. And just from personal experience, all of those mofos were spanked. So I think that you have to start isolating some of your
I never got spanked, by the way.
Okay,
that's how you turned out.
That doesn't negate like the view. Like, of course, in America, our schools and our whole like society is not geared to actually helping people learn.
Yes,
other societies like India,
it's not the spanking
they like their whole culture is designed to make kids learn. Yeah, what?
1,000% agree.
Okay,
but that's also because social services and education is cut. Teachers that are supposed to raise the next generation of politicians and doctors and nurses, they're treated like total shit. They're treated as a very low class profession. Nobody really cares from a funding perspective. And so there's all of these different factors that contribute to generations and generations of kids not really valuing the education system as much as their predecessors did. And so all of those things have compound effects when you expand it across generations. It's not like, okay, this one thing caused 10 IQ points across the generation to decline. It's a multitude of different factors, and that's why it becomes a very nuanced point.
All right, so Square. Tannor, is it going down 70% like Hindenburg said?
Short answer, no. Not that I believe. I actually did a fantastic video that did unbelievably terrible with another Chris with a K from Growth to Value. This guy is so smart, guys. I wish, I'm sure you guys didn't even see the video. This dude is full of knowledge. And I even asked him to come on the SoFi Weekly. He's down to. However, he doesn't follow SoFi as much. So if we're going to talk about a different fintech, which is what I would love to do,
sure, I'd be down.
He would be so down to join. Okay.
Chris.
I'm Growth to Can you stop?
It's like you're baking a pizza.
About his Seeking Alpha articles covering blocking short report by Hindenburg, as well as how do I turn this off?
Responses. Why do you like move your shoulders
March
up and down?
Hindenburg issued. I recently just had the honor of speaking.
Bro, it really does look like you're making a pizza. You're like, all right, everyone, go watch this video. I'm putting it in the description so that the analytics don't make Tannor want to kill himself.
It was a good video. It was.
Thank you so much, and Riley, I appreciate the criticism.
Wait, what was the criticism? What did he? What
wait, I just want to say, well, because
did he say the video was fucking trash? What was the criticism?
Yeah, no, I really value Riley's opinion. This guy gives great criticism. Even, you know who reached out to me and gave a ton of great criticism as well is Tristan. Amit. So.
Well, no, Tristan, I know he redid the intro for you and tried to like make it a little bit more exciting from an editing.
Yeah,
right.
No, I liked it. It was a good mix of a like really, really interesting, and then also a little bit like this kind of looks like a Call of Duty montage a little bit, but you know, I think he was right in pointing out that there was a ton of flaws, but he might have had a little bit too much free time.
Pull up Mando's comment.
What's Mando's comment?
But
Wait, where is it?
no, dude, don't.
Wait, where's Mando's comment? I don't see it.
It's just saying crucial information.
Crucial video.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, what did you want to say from the video about Square?
No. Just Riley points out a lot of things, and I really want to be that person that has like a YouTuber group, which is so funny that Riley's the only one that doesn't even really do it as much as the rest of us, and yet he's the one that actually gives me criticism on my videos. So I really appreciate that, Riley. And I think what a lot of of the things that you say is like bringing it back down to like first principles and being like, hey, like not everyone's going to know what you know. Like you have to kind of explain better. And I don't know, you give me a lot of good points. You do that on a lot of my stuff. So I appreciate it.
Okay, so everyone in the chat, go criticize Tanner's video in the comments. Tell him how fucking bad it is. And
all playing around, I appreciate that. I hate giving criticism because most people just hate, like people get defensive really easy. So I really hesitate, but I really think Tannor is going to be like a big YouTuber pretty soon.
Tanner's going to get to 100K before all of us. I guarantee that.
What a sweetie, but I don't know if that's true.
You jumped in.
Why do you say that, man? You think I'm going to get to 100K before you?
Yeah, because you're focused on quality, and I mean, I'm focused on quantity. So
I call BS on that.
Every single day this week.
Okay, hold on. Every single day this week, Amit has been on a live stream, and the funny part was I was with I think it was Monday or Tuesday with my partner, and we were just choosing something to watch on Netflix. And we're like, "What are we gonna watch?" And she's like, "I bet you Amit's streaming right now." And I was like, "Nah, he can't be." I pull up YouTube. Literally on my like homepage of YouTube, Finance Junkies, and so we hopped on there. And so the guy is on, like he was on a Spaces before this, Palantir Weekly tomorrow. Every single day, there's at least one or two live streams. So I don't know about that. It's like we have this behind the scenes, I guess, for everybody's awareness. We have this conversation that's recurring. Quality versus quantity.
Oh, we should have this conversation here. This is perfect to have this here.
Yeah, I guess.
Last 20 minutes.
Amit is always on the quantity side, putting out 3 live streams a day. All those live streams get clipped into like 6 videos and just fire hose of content. Whereas Tannor is like 2 videos that are high quality, well edited, good animations.
Let me hold on. Let me
want to switch to.
Let me build out the argument, and then we'll see what the chat thinks. So here's my opinion. Me and Tannor have gone back and forth on this. I think if you're in the finance space, the Meet Kevin approach is the best approach for growth because Meet Kevin spits out a lot of videos, right? And not everyone gets to watch all of those videos. But CNBC, if we look at their YouTube channel, they have a diarrhea of videos, and some of them get like 10, 20,000 views. Some of them get like maybe 100 views. But the reason they're able to produce that much is because there's so much news in finance. And at the end of the day, they're a news channel. They're a commodity. So a commodity means that like if you talk about Hindenburg's short report, there's 17,000 other people talking about Hindenburg's short report, right? So your perspective on it really doesn't matter as much as everyone else's.
Well, also,
hold on. Let me finish.
Just to support you, support your point. One thing is that fundamentally we're talking about news, and that shit gets old very, very quickly.
Exactly.
And so, anyways, go ahead.
Versus Casey Neistat, which is more what Tannor is thinking of in the finance space of like, if I put out a really quality video, the watch time will be high, the click-through rate will be high.
I don't think that's a fair comparison of.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Wait. Just change.
I'm giving you a bull case.
Just
as well,
use a financer influencer as your example. Use a finance.
Ticker symbol U.
Thank you.
Okay. So, but ticker symbol U is more like Casey in that let me put out a good video, even if it'll only last for like a week in terms of relevance. It will get like 10x the amount of views because of the quality.
He's not even a finance YouTuber anymore.
Can I?
Hold on. So here's the question for the chat. Do you think that the Meet Kevin approach in terms of quantity, get it out there, treat each video like it's a tweet, basically, like just tweet it and move on, is the better approach for growth because you get to attack more sectors of the platform? Or do you think like one video on NVIDIA's, new GPT and like making sure it's the best fucking video ever for that week is the better approach? I'm on the side of Meet Kevin, and Tanner is more so on the side of ticker symbol U. Riley, go ahead. Tanner, then Riley.
Okay, so let me just can I pitch my thing? So
yes, go ahead.
I think the ticker symbol U, the Joshua Mayo, which is crazy. Joshua Mayo is the one that I love bringing up now because I'm pretty sure this guy had less subscribers than me at one point, and now I think he has over 600,000. Crazy. And the quality of his content took a massive change, and he focused on storytelling over, well, still with good information, but he focused on storytelling and making an entertaining video. At the end of the day, I don't think people come here for a news source. They can subscribe to Wall Street Journal or something like this. They come here to also be entertained. Let's get this news in a way that is not boring to me. Okay. I think the drop a video, bang, 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 bang. Meet Kevin is, in my opinion, he's one of my favorite YouTubers. I think his ability to drop information is great. Okay. But he's not growing the way a Graham Stephan, an Andre Jick, a Joshua Mayo, or any of these storytelling style finance YouTubers are.
Can I ask both y'all a question?
Yep.
Do y'all know who James Johnny is?
Yeah. That dude uploads like once every year or some shit.
Yeah, and yet he has 20 videos. He didn't know how to edit in 2020, but he has 1.6 million subscribers. And he got 100,000 subscribers after uploading 2 videos.
This is a good example because his videos are like movies.
He 100% doesn't do anything other than focus on quality. That's the only thing he focuses on.
This is what I think Tanner's trying to go for.
And 100%. This video on crypto is the most comprehensive, most entertaining video on crypto like out there. It's so interesting, and it's 54 minutes long, which is insane. Yeah, I think quality, and this guy's strictly finance too.
I think it's also contingent on personality. Like I don't have the wherewithal to make a video a week. Like I have so much stuff to say. I want to do funny jokes. I love the streaming in the morning. It's so fun talking to 300 people, opening up the market. So that's why it works for me. But I think for Tannor, who he has an actual 9-to-5, right? So he's doing shit, and he wants to focus on getting a crisp, qualitative video. It works. The question is, what does the algorithm care the most about? And both sides, the algorithm can pick up. It's just in terms of, I think of it like swinging a baseball bat, right? If you only swing once, that one swing has to be amazing for the algo to pick it up. Whereas if you swing 10 times, it's easier. You know?
Yeah, but like here's an example, and I hate using these personal examples because I'm not like, I made one video that gets almost 13,000 views now, and it's like, how many videos would I have needed to make, and how many hours of editing would it take me to get that across 4 videos or something? Versus whenever I just made this switch last week because I had a good idea, I wanted to talk about it. Now the thing that sucks, Amit, because I love having an opinion, and I want everyone to know that it's my opinion. Like I'm not trying to state like a fact. It's just what I believe, and I might state that assertively, but it doesn't mean that I'm like someone else is wrong. But I think the SoFi Weekly can get those things off my chest. I can say all the stuff about Wyndham Capital without needing a next minute video coming out with this. And I also love the podcast style videos where I get to meet people like from growth to value. That I love that content probably the most. I enjoy talking with people. Guys, I even spoke with Christopher Hager. I made an entire hour and 30-minute long video with him. Actually, it might not have been that long. It might have been an hour or so. Anyway, all the audio was erased, and so that will never see the light of day, unfortunately.
How did that happen, by the way?
So I used Streamlabs for the first time, and they have this new feature called Collab Cam. So you can send a link to someone just the way you would do StreamYard, and then they can join your video. And so they had it to monitor his audio, but not record it. And so I saw, it being my first time using this new feature, I saw him talking, which it's a recording software. If you're recording and I can see your audio, it should be recording. And just that was the default setting. I couldn't believe it. So, but one of these days we'll get it again. But yeah. I think I need to be selective in what I post, because if I post something that's off topic, like one of the things, Amit, that I think no one gives enough credit to is that if someone comes to your channel and they watch a video and they go, oh my God, I love this, and they subscribe and they go, can't wait for his next video to come out, and then you post shit the next time, they're going to be like, oh, maybe this guy isn't who I thought he was. You know what I mean? Then the next
Yeah.
time a video comes out, they're like not as excited to watch.
See, my hedge against that is personality. Like, so if they subscribe after they watch a Palantir video and then I put out some Coinbase news that has nothing to do with my niche of expertise, I guess, they're not going to watch it. But if they get something of my personality, they'll stay, right? Which is how I got a lot of people to watch the live streams. Like, the live streams people are not supposed to watch that. They're not about Palantir. They're not niche. They're not focused, but they stay. And I guess that's where personality, which to me drives authentic community, which is like real long term. But your point is also correct, which is a lot of people have unsubscribed because they're like, well, why am I even, what's the point of this channel for me? Right?
Yeah. Or it just hurts your click-through rate on that
Yeah.
Coinbase video. Now that Coinbase video can't take off because they go, oh, well, I like this guy, but I'm not going to watch that video.
Yeah. See, the only difference here is like, I think I did a Coinbase video 2 weeks ago that's 600 views, which is pretty low for me, but that's still 600 people that watched it, which matters to me, right? I don't get demoralized by that. I'm like, oh, and that's what I love about me, Kevin. Like, he does not care. He'll just be like, all right, no, next video, right? Because the algorithm, he's the definition of defying the algorithm. Because with all the crappy videos he's done, they get like 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 views, which for his channel is really bad. He'll come out the next one and have 100K on the Silicon Valley Bank collapse because he can break it down better than anyone else, and it's like trending at the moment, right?
It becomes a point about reliability at some point. Like if shit is hitting the fan, for lack of a better term, and from a news perspective, and you have built this trust and comfort with a certain content creator, you're always going to be looking to them first to break the news or to explain it to you in such a way that's relatable. And if they're not there, sure, you have a couple of other options, but all of a sudden that opportunity cost of your eyeballs versus somebody else's is gone. So to some extent, I do agree with that, like repeatability. Go ahead.
So someone posted in the chat, like it depends on what you want. Do you want to make a media company where you're a news source, or do you want to be a content creator? And for me, I'm loving the content side of things, especially now. Like I was out like trying to think of sets and stuff like this. I mean, right now I'm just in the corner of my room, but you know, I was going out to my car and I was thinking about recording like a funny intro. And to me, like if I can make like good income, especially in this niche, guys, you guys should see. Like Joshua Mayo posted his earnings on one of his videos, and this guy made like $60,000 on the first video that popped off, and it was like a half pop off. But because he was making a $29 CPM, that it just printed money. And then during that time that it can continue to still run, like for example, the video that I posted, which isn't even my most recent video, is still getting so many more views than my most recent video. That I think is the staying power of making a quality video. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about news. Like if you want to make news, then yes, my strategy doesn't work. But if
it all comes down
good quality content, then hey.
Isn't it surprising?
Riley has a video that still gets views.
Yeah, dude. My biggest YouTube video is up to 60,000 views now. And it grows every day, 100 views easily every single day, like nonstop for 3 years.
Yeah, Mr. Beast, he did a talk at Harvard 2 days ago, and I mean, look, like it's just really interesting. Like this guy dropped out of college, and he's talking to these Harvard MBAs about business, because the only thing that matters in business, like the only real thing that matters, is attention. That's it. Like everything else is a byproduct of attention. Whatever attention you can capture, you can then sell and then monetize. And he is the king of attention. And I think all of us in our own little niches are trying to figure out how do we get as much attention as possible.
So I want to say a comment in here. Someone said, what did Mr. Beast say on this topic? I believe he said quantity over quality. No, he said the complete opposite. And you can see that in his videos. He posts like once every 2 months.
He said quantity until you get a footing. He said post 100 videos before you even think about anything. So
okay, I posted like 200.
That's a super important nuance, because quantity gets you that repeatable sort of eyeballs to help you scale much faster, and then you go for quality afterwards.
This is why I haven't posted a video.
Stage now.
I've been working on like a really high quality, like 20-minute video on like just banking apps, and it's so hard for me like to actually write it down and put my thoughts out there, or write it like a script down and then edit it like accurately. I don't know, but I guess I just don't like putting anything out there that doesn't like actually give people value for their time. I don't want them to waste it. You know,
to me that's subjective, bro. Like that's the you just fucking put it out and see what happens. Like YouTube's very forgiving in that respect, especially when you're small.
There is nothing more demoralizing, and this is from personal experience. There's nothing more demoralizing when you put 20 plus hours into a single video that you think is going to be like your magnum opus, and it gets 70 views.
I agree.
Not joking.
But I think that's what's gotten us into this curse is that you probably have experienced this as well. As you put out a video and go, it probably won't do well, and then it'll be like your 1 out of 10 best video. It's just because we just don't understand what the audience wants.
My number one best video is 50,000 views or so. It's me
higher than mine
walking through a Twitter thread. Somebody else made the Twitter thread. I'm reading the thread out loud.
That's what I love about YouTube. You just keep posting and something will take off.
That's exactly it, Amit. Because for me, I was just like, whatever, I need to make a video this week and I have no other ideas. There's no other pieces of news. I don't want to lose that consistency. Here you go. Me talking about Twitter thread. Blew up. When I do a video that's like animations and like a PowerPoint presentation and everything, there's no guarantee that will translate. And so that's why I'm like leaning more towards the quantity side, because
the answer is both approaches work, right? And it's a good constructive conversation to have, and we'll keep going back and forth on it. But both approaches definitely work, and that. But I do think Tannor can get to 100K faster because when you have quality, YouTube will keep showing that fucking video forever. But it's just really hard to get that banger of a video if you're only giving yourself one chance a week. But when you get it, 100K is way quicker than someone trying to do it like me that's doing 5 videos a day. So
I think regardless, and maybe this is like, I feel weird doing this live because I don't know, it's kind of like giving the business strategy, but I think in a way like the way the internet's gone with transparency, it's like people like that sort of stuff. But what I also like is like what I really like doing the collabs and doing these things, like we're kind of chained to each other in a way. Like if I do get to 100,000 and then I go, okay, well, I still need Tevis to do this video. Because I love speaking with Tevis, and if he can do a 30-second collaboration on this 15-minute video, like instead of just doing a video with just our conversation, just doing the highlights within the video is still very highly retentive, but yet whatever. And so knowing a lot of other influencers, this is Amit's superpower. This guy is connected with everyone.
Jeremy just shouted him out this week. I saw that was amazing.
I know,
met
and he talks with ticker symbol U and
Dude,
meet Kevin, and he's crazy.
If Amit could match quantity with quality, like I feel like if you like upgraded your background and you actually had like something that looks like professional behind you, and you had some sort of like, I don't know, like anime, I don't know, some sort of like quality like level up on Amit's channel. Dude, I think it would compound. It wouldn't be like a 2x. It'd be like a 5 or 6x on just like your growth rate.
So,
and he's so right though. Like if you do 10% better on your video, it might not translate to 10% more views. It could translate to 5x more views.
Yeah.
Because you might just be, it might be the tipping point where YouTube puts you on the top versus the 4th recommendation. The first recommendation for YouTube versus the 4th is an insane difference in terms of views.
I'm going to send you guys a good video after this. It's basically Alex Hormozy breaking down his strategy that got him, millions of subscribers. And he was like making all the steps really practical, but he was basically saying that he uses, instead of his like notes app to get rough ideas, he uses Twitter, and he just posts them on Twitter, just rough ideas on Twitter. And then he measures the engagement of those tweets, and only the ones that have high engagement, he transfers them into videos to flesh out those ideas. I don't know who's eating chips right now.
I think it's Velcro.
Okay.
Velcro.
And so, and then he was saying that like that one video is then broken out into shorts. It's then broken out into Reels, into TikTok. And he had actually hired a full-time editor to make sure that he can get the quality and the quantity so that he can batch all of his time. Let's say he has 2 days a week where he records for 2.5 hours. And that makes him, 4 YouTube videos, let's say. And then those 4 YouTube videos make him, 20 reels, 20 short, and then he just floods the market with them. But they're all high quality because he has an editor doing it full time too. And so it was just a really interesting strategy in terms of how you can repurpose all of that content for these different channels to the point where even his rough ideas, he posted them as tweets because that also has engagement, it also has eyeballs. It also grows another platform.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and
Tannor, I think you need music. I think music would actually be really awesome on your channel because you already have.
Go check out my 13,000 view video, and you tell me, if you like the music.
I do remember. I'll look.
Don't do it now. Don't do what Amit did and just pull the video up.
Guys, I'm gonna cut it short. I got family, and so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I got a dip right now.
Can I say one last thing? Texas was confirmed, so I will be hanging out with Riley in a couple of weeks.
God damn
it!
Yeah, you're gonna get there. Riley's gonna be like, "Who the fuck are you?"
What was that reaction? I don't know, but I was gonna say like we're planning on making content there, so we're probably gonna do like the podcast there in person. But I was also saying. It would be interesting to also make some type of like vlog of that trip. I don't know if people would be interested in something like that.
I'm not talking to a camera to people I do not see.
It's okay,
but I do want to film the Starship taking off for sure, and the whole
if
trip.
we can catch it, that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to make a vlog of the entire trip.
If you try to catch it, you would die. But
I also want to know that comment that Nate said there. Riley, are you sitting on your chair backwards? LOL.
I am. I've been like looking down for an hour and a half on just like a stool, and so I decided to get a chair and do this because, yeah.
And that just wraps it, guys. There we go.
There you go.
All right,
2 hours on the mark.
It was a good discussion. 2 hours, yeah. Thank you, 150 people for staying, even when we're not talking about SoFi. It means might like us in general, which is good.
I liked our AI banking thread or conversation. That was fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be a bitch for me to edit. You guys do this to me every single weekend.
What are you gonna put as the intro? What's gonna be the fun part?
I don't know. I'll figure that out. Something always comes up, like 40 minutes in, 50 minutes in.
Okay. Pouncer Weekly tomorrow, so you guys will see that.
Links in the descriptions.
Just leave, and then you just leave this live, and he won't be able to edit it.
Let's go. End the podcast.
Oh, the spanking. That should be the front.
Oh God, no. Be like, what the hell are they talking about this week?
Spanking is it's fun. All right.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, that should be your intro. What Mando said. Can you stop talking about the PayPal thing was pretty funny. So I'd launch with that. And let's work on your thumbnails together.
Yeah, I'm running out of ideas for thumbnails. It's just Anthony knows. You know what? It's actually performing very well. The last 3 videos. Okay, so this is crazy. I've had my face on videos, and I've had just videos with like compositions of documents and such, and trying to build some intrigue. They all are like performing. I just copy pasted Anthony Noah's face for the last 3 videos in a row. Those are the like 3 of the top 5 videos that I've posted all year long. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So I'm gonna do it again next week. Anthony Noah's face, guys. I'm sorry, it works.
No faces, faces of controversy, ranked in order in the algorithm. So if you can slap some faces of controversy on there, do so. A couple Nancy Pelosi's, a couple. Who knows?
Warren,
Trump, Bernie Sanders, Warren. Hit it up.
Kramer's face. Kramer went long on SoFi. Sell now.
Kramer getting spanked.
You just gave me a great idea. I might do
Tannor, you should do this. YouTube short of you jumping in the pool.
I agree. I already have the clip.
Yeah, just making it 9x16.
Okay, Jesus, you have the clip. Okay.
It's already there.
All right, so how's everyone's life?
Are we logging off?
We're supposed to be logging off.
Yeah. So, are we ever gonna do that 6-hour pod that Stephen Fiorello wanted to do with me?
Are we ending this? What is going on?
Love the
Are we doing the 6-hour right now,
bro? It's hard.
Oh God.
Get Steven Fiorillo on here. I'll go till 4
Why do you
a.m.
guys always say his last name, bro? Like you guys like give him too much credit. Like saying someone's last name. Bro.
Don't call him Steven, just call him
Dude,
Steve.
last time you called Chris Hager, you were like Chris Hoag
He says it every time.
Dude, Tanner, you said hey.
Okay, never mind. I gotta go. I'm getting a call. I gotta dip.
All right, Sam.
this guy with the
All right, thank you
midnight
guys.
calls.
Talk
See you
later.
guys.
Bye.